You're listening to Three Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, with experts and insiders on what you need to know in Northeast Ohio.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the Three Things to Know podcast. I'm Stephanie Haney. As always, so excited to have you here today, especially excited today because we have a very cool Northeast Ohio native as the guest on the podcast. We will be chatting in just a moment with Amanda Kloots, who is from my hometown of Canton, Ohio, and she is an incredible person. Right now, she is tearing it up on Dancing with the Stars. She's also a host on The Talk on CBS. She has a new memoir out about loving and losing her husband, Nick Cordero, to COVID-19. She so publicly documented that journey for them. That's out right now. She's incredible. She's a professional dancer. She is a fitness instructor. She is doing it all, and I just have to wonder when the woman sleeps. So I am very excited to chat with her. We're going to chat with her about what her experience has been like on Dancing with the Stars so far. You know, we already talked with Mike the Miz Mazanin on an earlier podcast about his experience. He was just eliminated last week on Dancing with the Stars in week 7. So going into week 8, I want to hear from Amanda how she's feeling about it, what her memorable moments have been throughout the season, you know, if she got to connect with The Miz, since they are both from Ohio. You know, The Miz is from Parma. So we're going to talk with her about all of that, get the inside scoop. So happy that she was able to squeeze us into her very, very busy schedule. So without further ado, we've got Amanda here now. Let's bring her in. Amanda, thank you so much for being here on the Three Things to Know podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to be here.
So excited to see people from Northeast Ohio thriving. Obviously, you've been thriving for quite some time, especially on Dancing with the Stars. We do love to see it. And that competition is really heating up. We are just under halfway to the Mirror Ball Trophy. Can you tell us what dance is coming up next?
Yes, I am allowed because they announced it yesterday. So we have a Janet Jackson night, and I'll be dancing a jazz routine to Miss You Much. And then I have a dance-off routine against Cody Rigsby, a cha-cha to Together Again. And both of these songs are actually some of my favorite Janet Jackson songs. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a tough night because it's a double elimination. So I really need everybody from Canton and Cleveland and Northeast Ohio to vote.
We are absolutely behind you. I mean, you are, you've been performing so well. Aside from, obviously, we got to get those votes in there. How are you feeling just with the mechanics and things going into this week's contest?
Oh my gosh, it's such a crazy show. I forget sometimes that I signed up for a reality show because I love being there so much, and I love going to rehearsal and doing and learning these dances and performing on Monday nights. I don't want to go home, and I don't want to see anybody else go home. And so we have, we're in the show and we're all cheering each other on, and it's so exciting to see everybody perform. And then they're like, and now it's the elimination. And you're like, oh God, that's right, this happens. And, we all, I think, have a little bit of a freak out moment because, you're standing up there and you don't want to go home. And the next day you start dancing again if you get kept. So it is intense. I mean, it really is not only a physical, exhaustion, but a mental and emotional exhaustion as well. The show is very hard.
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously that's very clear too. And you're doing so many different things, so many moving parts, and you with a professional dance background too. Does that add any extra pressure to the picture?
I mean, I think the only thing that it adds is that the judges are and have been very hard on me, which I don't necessarily think is it completely fair. Just because, listen, I danced, yes, 7 years ago. I haven't danced since then. And ballroom dance is a completely different thing. I compare it to like you're a baseball player and then somebody hands you a football and says, next Sunday, you're going to be the quarterback. You're playing an NFL game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you better win the game. I mean, that is the intensity of this show. And you might say, well, yeah, but I don't play football. Yeah, but you play baseball. Yeah, but I don't play football and I don't play NFL football. Well, who cares? You're playing in the game on Sunday, go. I mean, and that's how I can best compare this process to knowing maybe or being a dancer before. It doesn't help you at all, really.
I was going to say too, yeah, absolutely. So different and so many different things. And you're switching gears all the time. You're doing this kind of move and this kind of move. You really got to be literally, to use a dance phrase, light on your feet.
It's, you are so right. Every Tuesday, I'm so blessed to go back into the rehearsal room, and my partner Alan's like, okay, throw everything you just learned out the window. Now we're learning this dance, and nothing comes over, from next week. Like I did the Argentine tango, and then the next week was the jive. It's a completely different world. Like nothing helps you. So it's crazy. And in less than a week, you're performing it as if you were a professional ballroom dancer on Monday night. I still am shocked that it actually happens.
It sounds very intense, and just, visually from an audience perspective, it's always so beautiful. It comes together so nicely. The costuming is one thing that is so beautiful. Now, I know we did just recently get some spoilers from the production team, or not spoilers, but secrets. I know you guys don't have any control over the glam, but do you get any say in the costuming or the wardrobe?
That hair and makeup and wardrobe and creative team over there, I mean, they have been doing this for so long. They know exactly what they're doing. We definitely look at it, and as the celebrity, I can say, oh, I wish I could wear my hair down instead of a ponytail or whatever. But to be honest, they're crushing it. And pretty much every single week I see my hair, makeup, and costume, and I'm just in awe of all of them. And they know what they're doing. I trust in them. I say, if this is what you think I should wear, let's do it. Let's wear it and go. Because again, I don't know the ballroom world, so, and it is a completely different world. So I trust them.
Do you get to keep any of those costumes?
Oh, I wish. I always joke around with them, especially my cha-cha outfit from Britney Week. I was like, guys, this might come home with me. It didn't, but I mean, again, I don't know where I'd be wearing any of these costumes too, but it would be fun to have them in my closet.
Just around the house. Why not?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it'd be fun to keep one as a memento. Maybe they'll give me my cha-cha one.
Well, we hope so. I mean, they've been absolutely so beautiful. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a pretty emotional, serious moment that you had this season when you danced the foxtrot to your wedding song with Nick Cordero. It was so beautiful. That week, I think you actually had the highest score that week, and just an incredible moment. Thank you for sharing that with all of us. How were you feeling? What were you thinking while that was happening?
Dancing that dance was actually very celebratory for me. It was, my wedding day goes down in one of my best days of my life. And that dance that Nick and I did together was so fun and created by our good friends for our guests. And it was so cool then to years later dance again to that song, but in real dance, like a real foxtrot that made me feel like I was in a 1950s Hollywood musical, which is, I think, my dream. So it was very celebratory. It wasn't necessarily a sad moment. I very much felt like Nick was with me and dancing with me, and it was just so wonderful to dance again to that song, relive that day, and actually do a dance that was technical and felt like, a real dance.
Well, it certainly came through in the performance. It was absolutely beautiful. And, I just have to say, kudos to you, because you are giving so much of yourself to us right now, it seems, in this moment. You have your new memoir out. I'm going to make sure I get the title right. Live Your Life, My Story of Loving and Losing Nick Cordero. That's out, that you co-authored with your sister, Anna. How does that feel now to have that out in the world?
Well, gosh, it's so crazy writing a memoir. I mean, I never thought I would write a book, and let alone, this story. You never think you're going to write this story. It was incredibly therapeutic, though, to write it with Anna. And people still to this day reach out to me saying they have read it, they are just finishing it, or they just picked it up, and how much it means to them and how it's helped them. And that's what this is about. If you can write something down that eventually helps other people, that's the best thing we can do. Be vulnerable and give back, and hope that in that honesty and vulnerability, it helps somebody else get through something that's really hard for them.
There is no doubt that that is absolutely what's happening there. Obviously, the response to that has been incredible, selling so many copies, so popular. And I just have to ask, the book, Dancing with the Stars, your co-host on The Talk on CBS. Are you sleeping? Are you okay?
I'm getting as much sleep as I possibly can. It's usually around 5 to 6 hours a night. Elvis wakes up pretty early in the morning. Lately, it's been 5:30 in the morning, which is very early. So, and I'm very good at napping. I can take a 10-minute nap and feel re-energized. So I nap throughout the day. I will tell you though, I am exhausted. I'm running on fumes, but at the same time, it's like all these things are bringing me joy. Obviously being a mom is one of my favorite things in the entire world. Something I've always wanted to be. Elvis makes me so happy every single day. Going to do the talk, it's like my family that I never knew I needed, and now I have. They are an incredible support system to me. The show is just a ball full of laughter and joy every single day. And then I get to go dance, which makes me feel like my old self again. And I really needed to find that. I'll tell you, like after leaving performing for 7 years, becoming a mom, moving to New York, moving to Los Angeles, starting my fitness company, and then going through everything that happened with Nick and the pandemic, I did not realize how much I needed to find my old self again, to kind of heal myself. And dancing every single day again, performing every Monday night, it literally has brought me back to who I used to be, and is really helping me with that, transition of what life is now.
That's beautiful that you've been able to find that, especially in that space. You're definitely keeping busy. Now, last week we had Mike the Miz Mizanin on the podcast. Well, not last week. We had him on a couple weeks ago, but last week he went home. He's an Ohio guy. He's from Parma. Did you guys get to bond at all over that?
Oh, yes. Immediately we bonded over that. Our first day that we met at Disneyland doing a GMA appearance, I went right over to him. I had watched him on The Real World, so I remembered him from that. Immediately bonded over being from Ohio, and then went through all of our favorite Ohio things. Mike is what a nice guy. I really enjoyed getting to know him. He's an amazing father, husband, works so hard. I thought he did such a great job on Dancing with the Stars. He was somebody that wanted to be there, that was trying every single week to get better, to improve, to grow, to try to impress the judges. And, he really did. He was so great on the show. I'm really going to miss him.
He is just a blast on social media too.
Oh my God. I think I have a lot of energy. And then I met Mike and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Well, of course, speaking of being from Ohio, you're from Canton. Shout out, my hometown as well. Yeah. You went to GlenOak. I went to Perry. Do you ever get back to the Canton area?
Yes, my mom and dad still live there. They live in a beautiful home on Meyers Lake, not where we grew up as kids, but now that's where they live. And oh my gosh, I love going home, especially in the summertime. I try to get back for a week in the summer just to enjoy the lake and all the fun summer activities in Canton, especially around the Football Hall of Fame, yes. All of that. It's so much fun. And even just to pop home and just, stay in the house, go to Dairy Queen or Custard Corner and get some Krause's pizza and just live it, do all the Canton things that you love. There's nothing like, spending a week in Canton, Ohio. I'm so glad my parents still live there so that I can go home and enjoy Ohio, because, when you grow up in the Midwest and then you leave, it never leaves you. And whenever you come home, it just is like a blanket that wraps around you,
Oh, absolutely. You are speaking to my heart. I lived in LA for a bit and New York for a bit. And just hearing you say your favorite Canton things, that was going to be my question for you. I personally am a big fan of Pizza Oven.
Oh, okay. So I love favorite. Pizza Oven too. Love Pizza Oven too. Yes, that is a good one. Italo's is also a delicious pizza in Canton.
Good ones. And one of my favorite things to do is come home for the Balloon Fest. I always tried to make it home for the Football Hall of Fame Festival. So now I'm lucky I'm here and I can just pop down there. It's a lot easier. Pop down to Canton. But love that. And it's great that you get to come back. Now, looking at the future with Dancing with the Stars. Well, let's take it back actually first. Okay. Do you have a favorite dance that you have danced so far on the show?
Oh, well, gosh, this is actually super tough. The Foxtrot is definitely up there. The Paso Doble that we did for Disney Villain Nights, I love the Paso Doble. That was really fun. My most challenging dance by far was that Argentine tango. I loved that dance, except I looked like a very scary person with all that prosthetic makeup on. So that was definitely one of my favorites, although I look back and I'm like, I was so scary, but I think the dance I'm most proud of because it was so challenging. I literally almost gave up that week with Alan. I almost told him, like, you got to change this dance. I can't do this. I don't know who or what talent you think I have, but I can't do this. But also the Frenchie, the Viennese waltz, there's something about dancing a Viennese waltz that feels, again, like you're just back in time. And, I don't know if it's my mom that still to this day dresses like she's living in the 50s, but there's something about that Viennese waltz that just makes you feel like you're dancing in the clouds, and it is just so fun and romantic and just wonderful. So I don't know. I feel like I included 10 dances in that question, but they're all so special, because they're all so different.
Sure, and they've been beautiful to watch, every single one of them. You mentioned the Paso Doble. That was one that The Miz was hoping that he would make it to dance. He said he was excited for the aggression of it. So I'm really glad that he got to do that. That was cool to see that. Obviously cool to see that. Cool to see our Ohio representation on there too. And I'm counting Iman Shumpert in that too, because he was on the Cavs.
Oh, yes.
Won the championship.
Yes, I waited a couple of days before I unleashed my Iman Shumpert fandom on him, and it was so funny because I was like, I've waited because I don't want you to think that I'm crazy. And then I was like, but I was on my knees in my apartment in New York City screaming bloody murder, you guys won. He was laughing so hard. He's such a nice guy. I really like him.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome. It's great that you guys are having such a fun experience together. Okay, Amanda, one more question for you before you go. Is there a particular dance that you're looking forward to as the show goes on?
Yes, well, knock on wood, if we get past this Monday night, and it's a double elimination, so it's a pretty scary Monday night, I hope, and I'll say I hope, and fingers crossed, that I will get to dance to Nick's song Live Your Life. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to, but I need to make it past Monday night, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but that would be pretty amazing.
Well, we're going to do everything in our power to get you there.
Ohio, we gotta vote for your person. Now that Mike's gone, you gotta put all your votes towards me.
That's right. There's no other choice. It's Amanda. We gotta get her there.
Ohio, I'm your girl. You gotta vote for Amanda.
Awesome. Amanda, thank you so much for taking time with us on the 3 Things to Know podcast today. It's been such a joy, and we look forward to continuing to watching you on the show.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
What a joy she is. Amanda Kloots is just an absolute ray of sunshine. And you know what I love so much about this podcast and about what we've been doing here is, having lived in New York, having lived in Los Angeles, coming back home to Northeast Ohio, I love showcasing to our people here in Northeast Ohio the great things that our Northeast Ohio natives are doing out in the world and here at home, and just how much talent has come from this area. It is incredible. It's so amazing to me. And that's why, I couldn't be prouder than I am to be from the Northeast Ohio area. It's a great thing. And we've got some good stuff here, by the way. So to pick up on what I was talking about earlier with Amanda, here's what you need to know in NEO. And we're going to go with a Canton theme since Amanda's from Canton and I'm from Canton. You've probably heard me talk about this on social media if you follow me at all. _ Stephanie Haney on Facebook, on Twitter and Instagram. Pizza Oven Pizza. Papa Bear's Pizza Oven Pizza. It is so good, you guys. It's perfectly doughy. The cheese is so thick. It's just the right amount of sauce. And you know what I really love about it is when the cheese gets on the crust and you get a little bit of that hard cheese that you can peel off. It's so good. It's so good that they overnight FedEx it to people in other parts of the country. I've had that done twice for 2 different birthdays. I had it done in Los Angeles for a birthday, and I also had it done in New York City for a birthday. And when I had a friend who was coming out to visit me in LA, actually it was her husband, that's how you know you got a good friend, and that's how you know you got a good hubby. My dear friend Nicole made her hubby Scott, she didn't make him, he was a willing participant, bring me a pizza oven pizza when he was out working on the West Coast. So I met up with him and I got that pizza and I said, okay, Scott, have a nice time in LA. No, I'm just kidding. We did hang out, but it is that good, you guys. Now, there are a couple pizza oven pizzas in the Canton area, but I'm going to tell you the one that the Haney family always goes to. It's just the way it is, nothing against the other ones, but it's the one on West Tusk, and it's right across from Heggy's, and it's pizza oven pizza. And do yourself a favor. You know, there's actually a Facebook group devoted to the pizza oven pizza, so if you want to get a little glimpse of the greatness before you dive in head first, I'll link the Facebook group too. Here's a couple hacks for you though. You have to order the pepperoni on top of the cheese. It's much more delicious that way. And when you get the JoJo's, the breaded potatoes, the broasted potatoes, breaded, broasted, whatever, order them thinly sliced, because then you get more of that delicious coating. And it's not, the big chunk of potato. Now, if you like that, that's fine. It's your right to be wrong. But if you order them thinly sliced, that's the way to go. So that's what you need to know in NEO, in Canton themed, courtesy of Amanda Kloots being our guest today. And that brings me to a good follow for the week. And we're going to stick with Dancing with the Stars. We're going to stick with people with the Northeast Ohio ties, because there is one more person. It's Iman Shumpert. You might be thinking, what? He plays for the Brooklyn Nets. How does he have a Northeast Ohio tie? Well, if you're thinking that, you have a short memory, because he played for the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016 when they won the NBA Finals. When they won the championship, Iman Shumpert was here, and he has been tearing it up on Dancing with the Stars. So if you want to follow him on Instagram, see some of his behind-the-scenes stuff, you can follow him at Iman Shumpert. It's ImanShumpert. And he is this week's a good follow for that reason. It's such an entertaining show, and three Northeast Ohio representatives out of all of those people. How crazy. We're getting very close to the Mirror Ball, you guys, so of course we'll be following along, and we're rooting for our Ohio people. Amanda Kloots first and foremost, but then also Iman Shumpert, but there can only be one winner. So we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for being here for this edition of 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney. I appreciate you being here. Hey, if you're liking the podcast, now is a great time, if you haven't already, to subscribe, leave a rating and a review, and share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. At least that's what they say. I don't know who they are, but I feel like they are right about this one, because when you do that, it helps us connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio. And that's what it's all about. We're trying to build some connections here. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you back next week with more 3 Things to Know.
Thanks for listening to 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney from WKYC Studios. Subscribe now to stay in the know.